I'm going to say this as succinctly, and quickly as possible. So I took my book off of Amazon because it was in really bad shape. Okay, really bad shape. And I sent it off to an editor, a Fiverr editor, so, on the cheap side. But the cheap side isn't really what bothers me about, like, isn't, it's not a you get what you pay for kind of situation. But I was terrified of sending the book off to an editor because, well, firstly, because my fragile little ego could be shattered. And I could just hear, oh, it's not a good story. And he didn't say it's not a good story, but he did talk about how it's inconsistent and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I've been going over the dude's comments, and I gotta say, it seems like, firstly, there's some things that I knew would happen. I knew that there was a chance, for instance, that he would demand that I eliminate serial commas because that's a point of contention in the writing world. And I'm on the side of the Oxford comma. Go Oxford comma, yay! Oxford commas are good because you shouldn't have to rewrite your sentences to fit the punctuation. Punctuation is a slave to your sentence, not the other way around. That being said, I will say that there were a lot of there's things that he said that are completely legitimate, things that I need to change. Something I just noticed that he said, and I'm really grateful for him. But at the same time, it felt like there's a lot of things he made comments about where he clearly didn't read what he was trying to read. Like the prologue of my story, it says it said this and this by Dendi Ratis, because this is a fictional book. This is an excerpt from a fictional book inside of my fictional universe, using the fictional language to give the name to this fictional character who wrote this fictional history book. Okay, this isn't another book, but he made it. He said, well, you should give a link to this book or some give a reference to this book at the end of your book. I'm like, the book doesn't exist. Okay, this is Dendi Ratis is a person that I made up whole cloth. That's why his name is Ratis. Ratis is not a name that you find in, well, I mean, maybe there's someone named Ratis out there, I don't know. But Dendi Ratis, and especially since at some point he did get further into the story and he realized that Ratis is the name of a lot of characters. It's a very common name. And one of the main characters, Ili Ratis, Ili being a prefix put onto people of a certain status, is also a main character in the book, that he would realize this wasn't a real person, that prologue was kind of giving an outsider's perspective on certain parts of the history. And the more that I read, the more that I'm like, this guy isn't paying attention. He's really not. He's making a lot of comments. But I wonder how much of that could be solved if I rearranged things, if I rewrote things. And that's the thing, is that because he didn't actually pay attention and because he never got some of the things that I was writing, I don't know. I don't know what I could change to make those things clearer, or if it's just the fact that he read it so quickly and he wasn't paying that he was looking for grammar and stylistic things and things like that. And some of those things I'm going to have to change, and I'm going to have to grit my teeth and bear it because I can't stand some of the changes that I have to make. One of the things is making it justified, which is funny because when I first wrote the Diamond Spearhead, it was all justified. Justified means it's lined up on both sides, and I hate that because it's really hard to read, and there's parts where there's big words that cause the sentences to be oddly spaced out. I hate full justification. And I've hated full justification since I was taught not to use it in university, in grad school too. You don't use justified; it's hard to read. But yet, I looked over some novels, the novels that I had at the ready. Neither one of which were mine originally. One is The Gunslinger, and one's Time Traveler's Wife. That was the Gunslinger I found somewhere, and the Time Traveler's Wife was left here by the previous tenant. And yeah, sure enough, they're both fully justified. I'm like, crap. So there are standards that I will have to meet, to fit the publishing world. But there's things that for instance, he made comments about character subheadings. Like that when I changed POV, he said, all I have to do is put 2 spaces and that'll be fine. And the thing is, that won't be fine because well, I mean, it's not that it won't be fine. I guess suppose if I have to say whose point of view it is, I have to tell you. But he says that, you shouldn't put character headings at all. I'm going through Song of Fire and Ice right now. Not only are there character headings, there are no chapter titles. The chapter titles are literally just POV. Oh, this is Tyrion Lannister. Oh, this is Ned Stark. Oh, this is, Arya Stark. That's the entire everything is headings by character names. And so obviously this is just his own personal choice where he doesn't like this sort of thing. And I'm sure lots of big novels break these kind of rules, and those are the kind of things that I don't want to have to listen to. Those are the kind of things where I'm like, no, because that's just your choice. That's not something that I have to do in order to sell books. But it's all the trepidation that I had about doing this, about this process, is coming to a head because I know that I have to listen to him to some extent. And it's distinguishing between the parts that I have to listen to and the parts that I don't have to listen to and the parts that I definitely should not listen to, like the damn serial comma thing. Come on, man. And American English. I'm sorry. Yeah. I do admit there's one point where I always deviate from American English, and that's with the word gray. I don't spell gray Gray, I do Grey. Sorry, that's just a habit that I picked up, but it's never gonna change. Never gonna change. I don't need to change it. It's not. I don't think that it's that's just every writer has things like this, and so I have to kind of humble myself enough to be able to look at my work more critically and say, hey, okay, he's right. This needs to change. But I also have to have the wisdom to know that he's just a dude who has his own tastes, and sometimes his tastes don't really matter when it comes to the quality of the book, and I have to know the difference, and that's going to be a hard thing. So it's going to take a while. All right.